Hi everyone, welcome. Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's time for Stamping with Denise. Welcome. Hope you've had a wonderful weekend and a great start to your week. And thank you for joining me for crafting tonight. Tonight I have another card I'm going to show you that helps you use up some of that designer series paper that maybe you've been hoarding a little bit. But it's a great card. And I think it's a design that you can go back to over and over and over again. But before we get to that card, let's, couple things. Please, if you like what you see, would you please share my video, comment shared in the comments, and you might win the project that I'm working on tonight. If you recall last week, I made this great kind of a Z-fold. I'm trying to show you here. It's hard. Kind of the Z-fold card using designer series paper, and it's great because you can see both sides of the paper. And this card's going to go to Annette Kowalski. So Annette, thank you so much for sharing, and I'll get this card out to you very soon. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Please subscribe to my channel, and once you subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. I upload a new video most every Monday evening. So, okay, let's get started with tonight's card. And hold on, I just lost my sample. Where's it at? Oh, it's right here. It's in my stack of papers. Okay, I'm going to switch the camera down to my hands and we will get started. There we are. Okay, so tonight you can see we've used the Pansy Designer Series paper. We're going to make a pocket card. It's a great way to showcase the Designer Series paper. If you look inside, you can see the other side of the paper. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And I think the great thing about this card is this design could be used for masculine if you're using a masculine paper. So let's get started. Again, this is the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper, and as of yesterday when I was planning this project, it was still available in the US. So I wouldn't wait too much longer though. You know, the new catalog goes live in about 2 weeks, and things are selling out very fast. So you need to make sure you get what you want and get it fast, okay? So I'm going to use a different sheet of the Pansy Designer Series paper. This one, of course, it has a very large design, and I think this is a great scale for this project. Okay, so we're going to start out with a half a sheet of Designer Series paper. This is 6 by 12, and let's see, we're going to start out, well, let me go ahead and tell you the other measurements first. Then I have a piece of cardstock. This is the fresh Freesia, and this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. And then on top of that, we're going to put a piece of basic white, which is 3 3/4 by 5, okay? And that will be the inset to our card. But let's go back to the Designer Series paper. Like I said, this is 6 by 12. You're going to start off by cutting off 2 3/4 inches of this paper, okay? 2 3/4 inches right here. And then, so that leaves this piece 9 1/4 by 6. And we want to cut off a 1/2 inch strip of this paper, and we're going to use it on the inside of our card for decoration. Okay, and we'll put this off to the side. We'll come back to that in a second. So I'm going to get my blade out of the way so I don't accidentally cut my paper. We're going to go back to this 9 1/4 by 6. I'm going to score the bottom of the card at 5/8 of an inch. So I can use this side because that's going to be 4/8. There's 5/8 right there. Perfect. I'm going to score it. Just be careful when you score. Sometimes it's on this Designer Series paper, it's lighter than cardstock, so it's easy to tear it. I've been there, done that. So you gotta be careful. Then we're going to score at 2 3/4 inches. And at 7 inches. Pull this out all the way. 7 inches right there. I want a good score, but I don't want to tear it. And I think that's all I'm going to need my trimmer for. If you don't have a trimmer that scores, you could use your scoreboard. Now, I know it's going to be really hard. You're not going to be able to see the score lines. We've got one right here. We've got one right here. Let me get a pencil here. I'm not going to draw all the lines, but I don't know. Maybe you can see that. Maybe you can see that. Oh, no, you guys really can't even see that. That's too light. And then I've got one here across the bottom. So let me see if this will help you here. Okay, so you can see at the bottom where the X is, that's where I have a score line, okay? So that is the bottom flap on our card. So what I'm going to do, or on our pocket for our card, we're going to cut this in, kind of at an angle there, and it'll make sense once you see the finished piece. Then I'm going to cut the score line, and you actually want to make sure you cut the score line out. Don't just cut on it, but cut it out. Because the back side of this paper is essentially nothing but straight lines, makes it really easy to do that. Okay. So now I think that might make a little bit more sense to you. I have score lines right here. Okay, so now I'm going to use my bone folder. This is going to be the bottom flap. This will be the last piece that we adhere. We have our two sides here. And when you fold this over, you see these sides this side's smaller than this side, and that's okay. You want it, but you want the one on the top to be the one that lands in the middle. If you put it that way, you can see that's a little more than halfway. But so this is the one that's going to be on top, and then you're going to fold this here. Now you want to make sure you do kind of a dry fit and make sure that this lays flat. If it doesn't want to lay flat, you might need to trim these pieces here just a little bit more, but it's not going to show because if it's a little crooked or anything, because it's going to be covered up with that top flap. Okay, so I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal, and I am going to put some on this flap here, and on this flap here. And we're going to fold it over. That folds over, it looks like about 1/4 of an inch, maybe. So there we go. Now we're just going to fold that up. And I like this card. This is a great card design for, like, if you're giving a gift card. Get rid of that though. You could use glue dots to attach the gift card on the insert piece. You could tuck a little packet of flower seeds, and with this paper I think a little packet of flower seeds would be great. Now you're going to take either a circle punch or a circle die. I'm just using the Stampin' Up! Retired 1-inch punch. Going to kind of center it. Actually, since I know that's the center, I can use that as my guide. And punch a little thumb hole out of that so that we can grab, the recipient can grab the card out. So that's all there is to making that pocket. I mean, I think the possibilities are endless, and like I said, you could certainly fit a package of seeds in there. And I had thought about grabbing one and I forgot. So anyway, so now we have our card insert that we're going to put together. I want to make sure first that that this is going to fit in there. Yeah, I've got enough wiggle room. Perfect. Okay. So I think the stamp set I've used is Lovely You. This one is actually carrying over, and I like it a lot because I like the fonts on it, okay? What we're going to do is, I'm going to start out with using this flower, and I'm going to decorate the inside of this. On this one, I just took the Evening Evergreen that was in the Designer Series. Oops, I can't see it there. Sorry. That was on the Designer Series paper, and put a little green leaf design. This one doesn't have any green in it, so to speak, because I think those centers on those flowers actually might be black. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the little flower that's from this stamp set, kind of looks like those, and I'm going to use the colors out of this paper. Calypso Coral, Pale Papaya, and Fresh Freesia. And I'm going to stamp a little bunch of flowers here. Okay, so let's start out with coral, Calypso Coral. And I'm going to stamp on my scrap paper first to make sure I've got it inked enough. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to stamp off some of this ink, and I have to clean this stamp in between each of these colors. So that was Calypso Coral. I try to stamp off as much ink as possible before I use my chamois, because it just keeps this from getting as dirty, filled with ink. Okay, this one is Pale Papaya. I'm going to make sure on my scrap paper, yeah, that looks fine. There we go. Put that over there. Make sure it's clean. Yep. And we have Fresh Freesia. So this is not hard. Pull the colors out of your paper. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Stampin' Up! Does that for us. They tell us what colors look good together. There we go. Perfect. So those colors are Calypso Coral, Pale Papaya, and Fresh Freesia. If you're going to go over to my store at denisewill.stampinup.net and place an order, be sure to use the host code, and anything over $50 before shipping and tax, I'll send you a gift. Okay, I'm going to put this on here. Perfect. Okay. Now you remember that little 1/2-inch strip that I cut off of this piece of paper? We're going to put it on here. Just like I did on here. I'm going to use, come on. And these really go together quick, So I'm lining it up with the top, and then I'm lining it down the side of the white. just like that. Perfect. And see, it's a little long, so then we will trim it off. But I like, in something like this that goes from edge to edge, I like it just a little bit longer, because then I know I can trim it off and it will fit perfect. Now look at that. Isn't that great? That can go right in here. I mean, you could put a sentiment on that. I tend to not put sentiments on the inside of my cards simply because I don't know what I'm going to use them for most of the time. Or maybe I'm going to give it to somebody who is a, I want to write a special note to. So, the other thing we're going to do now for the outside is we're going to use that other leftover piece of Designer Series paper, and I use the Label Me Lovely punch, and I'm going to use that for my sentiment. It's a great way to use it up. And it works with this paper because this is light, you know, a light color. Now I need a darker color to stamp this. And you know, I'm not sure how it goes, but I kind of like it that way, so I'm going to orient it that way. I'm going to go ahead and, I know I stamped this in the Evening Evergreen. I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp this one in Evening Evergreen also. As I know it's going to coordinate well. And I just think black will be too harsh. Always freaks me out a little bit when I stamp on something with a straight line on it, because then if you're crooked, it really shows. Okay. So that's ready to go. Now, I'm taking a piece of the ribbon. Oh, my ribbon went, tried to hide. Oh, speaking of ribbon, let me show you. I have all of my pre-order that I ordered from the catalog, from the new catalog. As a demonstrator, that's one of the benefits you get. But I wanted to show you one thing. I've opened it and looked at everything, but I haven't played with it yet. These are the new in colors. And this is the ribbon for the new in colors. Isn't that cool? Let me tell you these colors. This one is Sweet Sorbet. It's a fun pink. This one is Starry Sky. And I was really sad to see Misty Moonlight go away, but I think I'm gonna like Starry Sky as much. This one's called Tahitian Tide. Look at that blue, aqua blue. Parakeet Party, that just sounds like fun. Look at that green. And Orchid Oasis, it's a cool shade of purple. So I'm hoping to do a project next week with product from the new catalog. I'm hoping I get it done. Get to that point. But I did want to show you those, so glad I remembered. So back to the ribbon, and I don't even know if this ribbon is still available. This is the open weave ribbon in the in colors, and I have chosen Fresh Freesia, which is that color. It's the color of our cardstock. So about a 16-inch piece is perfect for this. And you know, just give or take a little bit. So I am going to tie this around here. So I'm just going to do a square knot. You know, it's, and I still have to say this, left over right and right over left. Right. There we go. I'm going to move it over to the left a little bit and trim the tails on it here. Oops, okay. You could put a glue dot down there to hold that down if you wanted to, but I don't think you need to. Then I'm going to take my dimensionals, put them on my, I'm going to use these pieces here. I'll just use these. Yep. I'm just going to kind of put that to straddle the ribbon. And I chose just because it's an easy, it's a sentiment that could be for a lot of things. It could be a birthday, a thinking of you, any of that kind of stuff. So, I hope you like tonight's pocket card. And I hope to see you making some of these pocket cards. I'd love to see them on my page. Post them if you make them. And look at those new colors. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for tonight. I will see you all next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern for Stamping with Denise. Take care now. Bye, everybody.